to Bright Ideas TV.
And I'm Bob Resselman, and I'm on Bright Ideas TV too. Here we are, Heather.
Each week, we focus on the thinking and people behind bright, imaginative ideas that made a real difference in the way the world works. Who's this week's guest, Bob?
This week's guest, I've been waiting all week for this one, Heather. This week's guest is Kim Schmidt. She's a really amazing technologist, and she's going to talk to us about a real bright idea she had that has to do with making very complex topics accessible. But before we do that, we have to do something, Heather. We're signed up. We've got to do it.
We are going to mention our sponsor. And our sponsor this week is Security Boulevard, securityboulevard.com.
Pam Baker has an article on Security Boulevard, and she writes that banks are not that secure. And in the article, she says, we've run 100 penetration tests, 100% of the penetration tests that were run against banks in the scenario, 58% of the attackers got through. So think about that. So everybody, after the broadcast, go to Security Boulevard and read Pam Baker's article. But now it's time for the good part, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let me introduce this week's guest. This week's guest is Kim Schmidt. And here's what Dr. Max McKeon, author of Now, the strategy book, says about Kim. Here it is. Kim is a relentless force of nature, someone who enthuses and shares her enthusiasm for the power of innovation and new ideas with everyone. Wow, is that a recommendation or what? Really? Kim has been in and out of the technology business for a long time. She's worked with very big companies such as Microsoft and Amazon, and she's also worked in the startup space. Presently, she's president and CEO of her own company, Data Leader. Data Leader, listen to this, I always mess that up. Data Leader, that's my New York thing, right? Data Leader specializes in big data, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, development, and cloud migration solutions. And she's working on a book that's about to be released. And the name of the book is Artificial Intelligence and Analytics on AWS. So Heather, please join me in welcoming to Bright Ideas TV, Kim Schmidt.
Welcome, Kim. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So, Kim, you're looking good. Looking good. Where are you? In East Albonia?
I am in Las Vegas. Believe it or not, I moved from Southern California, where I lived most of my life, to Las Vegas within the last year.
Wow. You're staying out of the casinos?
No, I am in my fiance's condo. That's
wow.
on the strip.
That's a safe place to be.
Yeah,
I'm in my fiance's condo and it's in the safety of Las Vegas. So anyway, Kim, tell me, what is your big idea and how did it come about?
Well, my big idea basically is to enable everyday developers to learn advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and advanced analytics on the cloud, no matter if they're in the cloud already or not. Because artificial intelligence is changing our lives forever. It's not going to go away, and companies need to restructure the way that they run their businesses to include these technologies, and developers and architects need to rethink their roles and learn these technologies, which aren't that easy to learn. So the point of my book is to explain it clearly, show them step-by-step architectures in real-world scenarios from beginning to end, and show them how to put the individual AWS services together and which services to choose for particular criterion and what business problems they're trying to solve.
Wow, that's a big task, given that AWS has, they have like 100 services they offer?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And it takes a lifetime to learn each service. So we need 100 lifetimes in order to be proficient at AWS. So can you give us an example from your book?
Well, the beginning of my book, I kind of go over briefly all of the services that can be used in an advanced analytical workflow, and what those features are, what those services are good at. And AWS categorizes services into functionalities, let's say databases or data stores, and they have so many different types. At the end of each chapter where I discuss these categories, I give quick reference tables on if you're in a hurry and you have a project, you can quickly just look at these quick reference tables and it'll tell you which one of those databases or data stores to use based on fast data, slow data, streaming data, batch processing, etc. That will speed up their development process, and as well as learning by example from the reference architectures.
Wow, that's amazing. So what were some of the hardest things that you had to be able to do to make this book useful for everybody?
Well, actually, if somebody knew everything that's in this book, they would be very rich. So this covers a lot of area. There's a lot of different types of analytics on AWS. They have the most types of analytics than any other cloud provider. And most people don't even know that all of those exist. They default to either a data warehouse like Redshift or batch processing like Elastic MapReduce, but there's so many others. And they're more appropriate for different use cases, solving different problems and getting different types of insights. So I suppose the hardest part is this is a journey for me as well, because nobody knows all of this. And I like complex things, so this is a good challenge for me. And learning all of these technologies and putting together those quick reference tables to help people, writing the complete analytical workflows step by step is not only going to benefit me, and it's not going to be an easy task, but it's going to benefit everyone in the long run, because quite frankly, nobody's as crazy as I am to take this on.
Yeah, it's quite an undertaking. So I imagine that you're going to be spending a little time in some of their newer technology services that AWS is offering.
Yeah.
What's a new technology we need to be keeping an eye on?
Absolutely, the services under artificial intelligence and machine learning. And they also have a lot of new types of querying, where you can query on an Amazon S3, which is data storage for heterogeneous data. You could do ad hoc querying on the fly. And the schema is the extract, transform, and load. The schema is read and transformed on the fly. And you can also do things like add to a data warehouse query. You could query in parallel your data, heterogeneous data, in Amazon S3 data lake up to exabytes of data at the same time. So there's very unique ways that you can query, many different ways, and many different types of services to use, each specific for different use cases.
Yeah, I remember I was at a conference a couple months ago, and one of the presenter, what he did is he took a drone. It was pretty amazing. You know, one of those fly around drones.
Yeah.
And he put the drone on put a little camera on the drone, and he also put a little a Raspberry, a little micro PC of computer, and he put it on the drone, and he wired the drone to go into Amazon into TensorFlow. That's an Amazon service, right?
Well, actually, it was created by Google, but AWS has more TensorFlow customers.
Okay.
Than Google does.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shows you what I know. You see, that's why you're on the show, to set us straight, because I don't know. Anyway, but what was interesting is he configured the cloud environment to only fly to people who were smiling.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so as a result, I lost it. What happened is that the drone was flying around the room and only going to people who were smiling, right? And so I imagine if the drone was in Las Vegas now with you, it would spend a lot of time with you because you're smiling. But, triviality aside, that, that is going to be our world. And
actually, I have complete architectures on that. Amazon has come out with this.
Oh, good.
Is Deep Lens,
Uh-huh.
And it is the world's first high definition 360-degree video camera that's
Uh-huh.
made specifically for the everyday developer to learn how to build and use machine learning computer vision models. So
Wow.
AWS enables the everyday developer because not everybody can afford to hire a data scientist.
Right.
And to get these models and build and train and deploy them takes a lot of time, and it takes data scientists. And so AWS is enabling the everyday developer with a product like Deep Lens, and also a service called SageMaker, where a lot of the difficulty is under the covers. It abstracts that away.
Mm-hmm.
And so that the everyday developer can learn to build, train, and deploy machine learning models that works with the AWS Deep Lens.
So how do I go about getting one of these?
You go to Amazon.com, you look up AWS Deep Lens. The release date, I think, was either June 24th or 29th, but I saw on Twitter yesterday, day before yesterday, that some people were getting them, and then mine came yesterday. So this is right out of the box. I haven't used it yet. I can't wait.
So we're now going through, we've already replaced radiologists with artificial intelligence. So now we can just replace the whole data science.
Well, and then think about the future. I mean, I love state-of-the-art technologies. So another passion of mine is augmented reality. And augmented reality, right now we have mixed reality, virtual reality, things like that. But augmented reality is the next frontier. And augmented reality and artificial intelligence kind of go hand in hand. So we're just at the precipice of what's going to be done. It's very exciting to be in this field.
Wow, great.
I'm curious about the AI stuff from being a female, and there's a lot of questions about like diversity and inclusion for hiring, and with the AI stuff, do you see some dangers about if a lot of it is made by mostly white men, right? No, I'm serious though, right?
Okay, I know what you're alluding to. I had a conference I did a conference up in Seattle a few years ago, and I had two speakers. One was the person who made Google Earth, and the other person is the most famous augmented reality litigator. And he came up, I thought his book would be boring. His book was fascinating because it had all these warped scenarios of things that really happened where people misused augmented reality. So it's kind of a fuzzy line, because you're right, men might use it for wrong reasons, bad people could use it for wrong reasons. And when Google bought DeepMind from I think it's Demis Hassabis, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and some other prominent people were put on an external board to oversee that technology so that it would not become smarter than humans. So we're really at a big, space right now that has to be monitored very carefully.
Wow. What a word. Yeah. Wow. So, well, Kim, I want to thank you for being on the show. This is definitely a plus. I'm going to go out and buy. When's your book going to be released? Do we know?
My goal date is the end of August.
Oh, great. So yeah, Labor Day presents for everybody.
Okay. Gotta get ready for the next AWS conference.
Yeah, gotta get ready. So, okay. Well, thanks for coming. Let's stay in touch. We'll post out when your book, and we'll do some follow-ups on the YouTube listing, so people can be in touch. And next week we have somebody coming, right, Heather? We
do have somebody coming, but I think you're switching the date on everyone, aren't you?
Oh yes, I know. I'm living, because I have to go to the Bay Area, and I wanted to torture myself. And the date is actually going to be Thursday. Are you ready for this? Ready for this? Thursday at 6:30 in the morning Pacific Daylight Time. I don't even think my dog gets up at that hour. But anyway, it is, and it will be Izzy Azari. Izzy Azari, and we'll post it out. And Izzy Azari is the guy who, one of the co-creators of Stackdriver. And Stackdriver is a transformational technology for Google Cloud. It's what allows everybody to watch what's going on Google Cloud. It's a really big piece of tech. So anyway, so I'll see you next week. And I'm still Bob Resselman.
And I'm Heather Wetzler, and you've been watching Bright Ideas TV.